do this. All right, y'all. So welcome back. And if it's your first time, make sure that you appreciate our new setup.
Looks amazing.
Check the last episode, see what the last one looked like. So I want to welcome everybody for tuning in. I know some people are getting ready. We see the number count going up as we speak. So we're going to start off like we always start off. First, let's start off with the book Fear. Let's shout out the book Fear. All right. So thank you. And if you don't know, there's a live studio audience in here, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody in the crowd. Shout out to everybody in the crowd. And we have our other sponsor, Clarity. So let's talk about my man, Clarity. And then we have the Mary Kemp Foundation. Proceeds from the Mary Kemp Foundation go to everything from the book Fear goes to the Mary Kemp Foundation, or proceeds or profit. I don't make any money off that. So every time you send money, that's what it's going to. Next up, we got my man Howard's Blend. Make sure you get some of this protein and make sure you get some of this pre-workout. You got to get them both. And last but not least, one of my favorite sponsors, they're very good people over there. The people at the Friendship Inn. So the people at the Friendship Inn, yeah, you can clap for that. Snacks, beverages, water, everything like that for the crowd is brought to you by the kind folks over at the Friendship Inn, 601 West Veterans Boulevard. If you're downtown Killeen, you want to stop by. Great rooms, everybody. Check that out. All right. So that's enough talking. Without further ado, I want to introduce my guest. All the way from Cali. He flew in bright and early, 1 a.m., started flying. I picked him up at the airport, 9 in the morning. My brother, Naveed Nabi. Everybody, my man, Naveed Nabi.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
So we're going to jump right into this. We met a couple months ago.
About a month ago, actually.
Yeah, in Irving, Texas. Yeah. We were both panelists, co-panelists.
Yes, sir.
And Naveed had so much information about lending. And you guys know we do a lot of loans and whatnot. But Naveed had a ton of information. So we had to bring him in. One thing that I really want to talk about and I want to focus on, just to jump in, and then we're going to go into your backstory.
Yes, sir.
Is the SBA loan.
Yeah.
You said something.
Yeah.
It piqued my interest. 10% down.
10% down.
Commercial.
You
want to give them the rules and you want to talk about it?
Absolutely. You want me to get into it right now, huh?
I want you to jump right into it.
No ifs, no buts. Yeah. So long story short, everyone talks about being a real estate investor and everyone hears that you have to put 20% down as a minimum, right? That's what we're all taught. That's what we're all told. However, that's not true. So yes, that is a common way of getting in. However, if you want to put a little bit more effort, let's just say, into getting that property, yes, SBA requires more paperwork, more due diligence. We're going to get everything except for your blood type pretty much to get something like this done. But it's because you have less skin in the game by putting less money down. So you're absolutely able to get, as long as it's your primary residence for your business, you're able to put 10% down if you qualify for that property.
Can you give them just one more detail?
You could still make money by renting out 49% of that property and get 10% down.
So now we got your interest. So you'll stay tuned. You'll stay tuned. You'll stay tuned. So now let's jump around a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Afghanistan. I was born February 6, 1993. Came out here at 8 years old. Fun fact, first day I landed in the United States was September 23rd, 2001, 12 days after 9/11.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So I remember my experience with 9/11, and I was in Minnesota. If you know anything about Minnesota, it's 93% white, 7% everything else. I mean, everything. Anything that's not white is everything else. So there's only like a pin. My cousin says it's like a fly in a glass of milk. So everywhere you go, you represent the Black coalition every time you go somewhere. And I'm Hussein Abdullah. I work in a call center at 9/11. I was at work 9/11. I was at work 9/12. Yeah. And hi, this is Hussein. Imagine that. So I know my story.
Right.
I was a grown up basically.
Right.
You're 8 years old. Tell us about your experience. 8 years old
Yeah.
from Afghanistan, 9/11.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone remembers the day of 9/11 and what they were doing, right? So I was actually in Pakistan. I was getting ready to fly out, so all of our paperwork was already done, and I see what's happening, right? And so we're all thinking, my mom, my brother, we're thinking this is not going to happen. Everything's going to be off. So fortunately, it wasn't. However, the experience was unique because I had to pretty much translate for my mom in the airports because luckily I was taught English at school back then. And then when I landed, I mean, it was pretty much the obvious, right? So I'm a kid from Afghanistan. I'm Muslim. I'm an immigrant. My mom can't afford shoes to put to send me to school, so I'm over there going to school in slippers that was pretty much given to us. Called bomber, called terrorist at school, beat up at school, spit at. Pretty much the usual. I mean, I wasn't the only one that went through it, but it's nothing I would change because it taught me and it gave me the skin that I have now. So it was a blessing in disguise.
Not a surprising story.
Not really.
Not at
really.
all. Let me ask you another question as we go through this.
Mhm.
Airport security.
Yeah.
TSA.
Yeah.
You fly a lot.
I fly a lot.
How many times do you fly a year?
Man, we're already in September. I'm probably on my 22nd flight.
Twice a month, give or take?
Twice a month, yeah.
2, 3, because 24, 9, 24,
Yeah.
give or take 27.
Yeah, just about.
How many times you get randomly searched at the airport?
About a 40% chance.
40% chance.
Yeah.
If only the lotto was like that.
Especially when I have my hair cut and my beard is done correctly, it's about a 40% chance.
Yeah, I'm a rock about 42. I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell you like
yeah.
this. I never get randomly searched when I leave New York.
Right.
When I leave Texas,
Mhm.
it raises the stock, baby.
Mhm.
But what happens is it depends on the TSA agent 50% of the time. Because when I'm leaving New York, it's like, yeah, what's going on? It happens, but it's like 1 out of 20. Like I feel random then.
Yeah, yeah.
In other places, especially when I'm coming back in the country,
Right.
forget about it.
Yeah.
Right. So
I found a little cheat code to that, to be honest with you.
no, all right.
Yeah, yeah. So
I don't know if this is that
yeah,
shit.
yeah. So travel light. I mean, now that I literally wear basketball shorts when I travel, and I usually have like a tank top on, so that way they don't have an excuse. And I wear slippers too, so they don't really have much of an excuse to see if I'm hiding anything. So yeah, travel in basketball shorts and a tank top and some slippers, and less of a chance for you to get stopped.
Isn't it a shame? And this is for the audience as well, that he has to think about not doing this and not doing. So it's kind of like the Black experience.
Mhm.
We were at the barbershop the other day. Shout out my man B for my man B hooked me up. I said it's been a minute since I've been in the shop. So we went to the shop and we were talking shop talk and we were talking all types of things. We were there a little over an hour, it felt like. And then you said something. I'm gonna call you out on it, and I'm gonna say it like this. He was like, being the only white guy in the room, and I had to correct him. I said, "Bro, you from Africa. You may light skin at the barbecue,
That's
but
right.
but you ain't white. So welcome to the other side. You've experienced the racism and all the other things that us as the Black coalition has to face, change our lives to fit in.
Yeah.
But it's a shame that happens in 2023. I guess it could be worse, but I guess that's the price you pay for travel at this point. So we'll kind of move it along a little bit. We'll get off that topic.
Yes, sir.
But at the barbershop,
Right.
kind of talked about a little things roundabout. So I just want to get a couple of opinions on
Yeah.
what you think about the state of the market. So I'll ask you this.
Yeah.
Rates. We're at 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5, 9%. I mean, full docs. It's normal. I mean, I feel like it's normal because I've been in the game for so long. A lot of people who got into real estate usually got into real estate, during COVID. If you're a realtor, shout out to all my realtors who are watching and all my realtors who are putting in work right now. But if you're a new realtor at that time in 2020, 2021, I mean, as long as you had a cell phone, you were getting deals done, right? As long as you had internet, people were calling you for refinances, purchases, or selling their property. So lowering the rates at that time, it wasn't going to last forever. And I just don't want anyone to think it's going to go back to that time again. It's not. I mean, let's be honest. If you missed the chance, it's all good because now we're back to reality. It's normal. Yeah, rates will possibly go down again, but it's not going back to 3%, 2.5% for a primary residence. So I would just say for me, it's back to normal.
Okay. Yeah. And we have a stat. We'll probably put this up later, but we ran it back. This is something when we were on the panel, it kind of came up.
Right.
If you go over the last 50 years, I'm going to recall fuzzy, it's 75% is 6% and above.
That's right.
3% never happened. Like the average 3% that never happened in history. And this is the norm. Just another quick one. You think we're going to go above 10 before or after rates drop? This is just a guess, a little speculation.
No one ever knows. I could be completely wrong tomorrow. You know, I don't have a crystal ball. But the Feds are going to meet twice by the end of the year. More often than none, they've been raising rates. So possibly. However, what the rules do show and what history does show is that during an election year, politicians want to get reelected, especially the biggest politician of them all, the presidents, right? So normally they try their best to either lower rates or keep them steady, so that way you can have a reason to vote for them. So my best guess based on history, rates will go a little bit higher before the end of the year due to the 2 meetings that the Fed will have. However, it'll possibly go down next year, so that way people can get in the game a little sooner and the politicians have more of a chance to get reelected.
All right. So we have the comments is going crazy. A lot of love for your story. Is like the ahs and it is 20-30 stories. Iris Abdullah, y'all might know her. She's my wife.
Yeah.
She said, as soon as I changed my name to Abdullah,
Oh yeah.
it happened.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, welcome to the family. Exactly. So I'm just gonna reach out real quick and say, anybody that has questions for myself or Naveed, ask it. We'll get to it. We're gonna keep moving, but feel free. Anybody in the audience, y'all have a question? The mic's right there. Feel free to ask. You can ask questions during the interview, and we'll keep it going. I know some of y'all have notes and this, that, and the third. And also, shout out to my man Sin. Earlier today, he also, it's another one. He purchased a copy of the book Fear. It stores whatever, you know, say get $25, you know.
Shout out Sin.
So Naveed and I got to hang out for basically the last 2 days. So we went to the post office, we did the mailing and this, that, and the third. Sin happened to call. Sin asked a really, really good question.
He did.
So he's shopping for a home and he asked a question about FHA and primary residence and lending and whatnot. And he asked about PMI.
Yes.
I said this in the shop yesterday. PMI is a poor person tax. Explain PMI. I'm gonna say why it's a poor person tax.
Sure.
What's PMI?
Sure, it's the mortgage insurance, right? So if you're, the way I explained it to him was that there's 2 types of loans that you're normally getting for primary residents that are homes. You're either getting an FHA loan, which is your primary residence, 3.5% down, or you're getting a conventional loan. So if you're on a FHA loan, that loan is designed to help you at least get your foot in the door, right? So it's designed to help you at least own a property. That's why the Fannie Mae is only asking for about 3.5% down. So that mortgage insurance will stay on the loan for the life of the loan for 30 years. But the goal is never to have that loan for the life of the loan. The goal is to refinance it into a conventional loan. So if you're getting into a conventional loan, yes, you're going to have mortgage insurance if you don't have up to 20% equity on the property. So you can start with 5% down, which is the minimum requirement. You can put 10% down. And as soon as you hit your 20% equity that you do believe based on comps in the neighborhood, based on your neighbor selling their property, then you can just order a simple appraisal, show that to the bank, and they'll drop your mortgage insurance if it's a conventional loan.
So why a poor person tax, you ask? Because who has 20% in America to put down on a home? PMI was created after the real estate boom in 2008 or whatever. So the banks found another way, and the insurance companies, which is a bank basically, found another way to make money to hedge their risk. So if you're buying a house and it's FHA and you're putting down 3.5%, you have to pay an additional fee over and above your principal and your interest just because you can't afford to put down 20%. That's why I said it's a poor person tax. So now when Sin asked that question, You gave us some information. There's a
Right.
couple ways around that, or you could drop it. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, actually, we should talk a little bit more about why that insurance is there in the first place, right? It is not for the homeowner. It's an insurance for in case you default and the bank recoups the money that they lended you. So it's literally you're paying for the insurance of the bank.
Right. PMI. What is PMI?
Yeah.
It's insurance.
It's insurance. Yeah. So if you default, that means the bank actually is able to get their funds back that they lended you to buy that property. So long story short, yeah, it's there's two ways of getting out of it. You could either refinance your property knowing that you'll have that 20%, or you don't even have to have the 20%. I mean, even if you have 10%, 12%, 15% equity on your property, I always suggest getting out of that FHA loan as soon as possible, because another way that they try to get you with FHA loans is that they normally sell it by saying that you get a lower rate on your FHA loan than conventional, which is true. However, it's not like you're going to get a 9% conventional and a 6% FHA. You possibly will get like a 6.5% conventional, 6% FHA. So your payments will at times still be less on that conventional loan without the mortgage insurance compared to a lower rate with the FHA with the mortgage insurance.
Okay. We have a question from last week's guest. If you missed that episode, check her out, Miss Carla Fears. So Carla said, or asked rather, how long does your business have to be established in order to apply for an SBA loan? That's a great question.
Great question. It depends on which SBA loan you're trying to get, right? If you're getting a small SBA loan just to start your business, get some working capital, I mean, you could start your business yesterday as long as you have the proper paperwork. What the main thing you should have in order to get something like that from the SBA is your business plan, because that is what outlines how you're planning on paying back all your debts. So if you're getting a small SBA loan, then yes, you can have started your business just yesterday. However, if you're looking for that 504 SBA loan towards that real estate, it's normally 2 years, because you have to go back with your 2 years tax returns to show that your business is making income. Or at least, I get it, the first year you don't make income. I mean, if you did, great for you. You just have to show a trajectory that your business is growing and it is making more income year over year. So that way you can qualify for that SBA 504.
Okay. And if anybody else has any questions in the crowd, this is your opportunity. Some of these people like plants, because we're doing business. Everybody in here, we've done business together, and Naveed was talking about some deals that are possibly going to come up.
Oh yeah,
here in the near future.
A lot of opportunity here, a lot.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah,
you're good people. You're good people. You're good people. We're good people. I brought you around some good people.
Thank you.
I want to shout out my man Josh in the back. You notice the camera work? You notice the camera work? Shout out my man Josh with the stability this week. Yeah. So shout out to Josh and everybody that's knocking that out. So let's run it back a little bit more now. So we talked about you coming over, your experience in school. Let's talk a little bit about the business world.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about your background. Where'd you start?
Yeah, so when it comes to my career background, graduated high school in 2011. My mom was still working with the military in Afghanistan, so she moved me out from LA County to Riverside County to pretty much start school out there. I just went to school for my business economics degree. Started working at Chase Bank as my first big boy job pretty much. I was lucky because I started working there at like 20 years old. Started off as a teller, but within like 6 months became a personal banker, then eventually became a business banker. So someone like yourself, if you were to open your business accounts with Chase, you would have gone through me to set all that up for you. And the reason why that's another blessing for me, because I didn't have to go to business school for something like that. I saw it. I was creating relationships with my clients. They would tell me anything and everything regarding their business history, their mistakes, and I just soaked all that in. And luckily, I was able to pretty much, about 2 years later, I got into the insurance industry. So I became a healthcare broker because one of my clients was was a healthcare broker. And then I also started something on the side for fun, just to experiment, get my toes wet, let's just say, in the business world. Started a vending machine company, started a clothing brand at the same time. So both of them were pretty much like cash cows. And it was good. It taught me a lot, let's just say. it was hard to multiply those types of businesses because you have to be there on the field. However, I was a vegan at that time, so I started like a healthy vending machine business, and it did very well. I put them in very good locations. My clothing brand got all the way to a point where I had some NFL players wearing it, some UFC fighters wearing it. I did like 85 shows in 1 year. That's just the grind, right? So after that, I got into the mortgage industry literally like a year before COVID hit. So one of my best friends, Zane, he's the vice president of the mortgage company I was started with, which was in the residential game. And then it was just a very smooth transition from residential to commercial because of the connections I ended up making. I was sending referrals out to a commercial mortgage banker. And then once I saw a check for a referral fee, I said, this is a referral fee check? How much are you making? So he opened up my eyes. And once again, it's not about the money. It's more about helping people, right? So that's how I got into the commercial game about 3 years ago.
You know who else is a vegan? Howard's Blend. Yes, that's right. Howard's Blend. Howard's Blend, everybody. Plant-based protein. Goes down smooth. Howard's Blend. All right, but
Smooth.
smooth transition. So you have on a specific jersey.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that. We'll have some fun now. Tell us a little bit about your jersey.
Absolutely, man. Kobe. It's a jersey that was made by the Dodgers specifically to honor Kobe. It's not just a jersey to me, though. You know what I mean? I saw Kobe's work ethic growing up. Luckily, when I first landed in the United States, my uncles were huge Lakers fans, and that was the time they were going through their three-peat championship run. So I saw the work ethic. I saw the hard work. Basketball pretty much became my life when it came to sports. My father did pass away. He was killed. That's how we were able to come to the United States. However, I didn't remember much because I was only 3 years old. But I saw Kobe as like that mentor, right? That father that I didn't have. When he passed away, it was just very unfortunate. We all thought we put him in a pedestal, right? We thought he was immortal. But you realize we all have a clock. Make best of your days. Be good to the people you love. Work hard. Support the people that need to be supported. And that's what he did. He made his mistakes. We all know we're not perfect. But I cried like a baby the day he died. So January, when was it? January 20th? Yeah, 2000. And that's why I had to wear this, because if I was going to be, with such good people, I had to make sure I honored them too.
I like the jersey. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, y'all can clap for that.
Thank you. It's an LA thing.
I'm going to ask the question, I feel like, with that buildup, but I'm not going to assume.
Yeah. What's the question?
Kobe or LeBron?
Kobe all day. All day. All day.
He's also 31. So, okay, you're a guest. I'm not going to do that too much.
30.
30. Yeah, 30. Even worse.
Oh, let me tell you this.
I have sneakers older than that. But okay, tell me about it.
Let me tell you this.
I literally do.
Kobe never left to the Cavs or the Bulls when he had the chance to. LeBron left to the Heat, and he came to the Lakers as soon as he could. I'm sorry, man. Loyalty is more important than your basketball skills.
He's from LA, though. So anyway, there was nothing I could say once you gave the build-up of Kobe. How about this? You lived in Miami for 2 years.
Yeah, but a year and a half, almost 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. Who throws a better party, LA or Miami?
The Cubans are wild, man. The Cubans are wild, man.
I had to know.
Yes.
Favorite cuisine, because we're about to go. We're going to Austin tonight. Y'all are all welcome to go. Favorite cuisine.
It's a franchise. It's called Las Vegas Cuisine in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Cuban joint.
So Cuban
food is amazing.
All right. I got one more, and then we'll go into kind of what we got to do today.
Yeah.
A little bit of what we got to do today.
Big announcement, huh?
It was a big day today.
Yeah.
It was a big day for all of us, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So we got food out the way. Kobe or Mike? Kobe or Jordan? I just want to see.
Oh no, I mean, I'm a realist. Jordan all day.
Okay, I get.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to
Jordan
see how far. I wanted to see how far he was gonna.
Without Jordan, there would be no Kobe. So I mean, you got to give it to Jordan.
Okay, cool. I'll take that, even though I put LeBron over Jordan. But that's another conversation. We'll talk about that tonight.
For sure.
We'll talk about.
We'll
that
have a great talk on the drive back to the airport.
Great talk. It's one of my favorite things. So we're gonna talk about this morning.
Yes.
We were up bright and early again. Shout out to the Body and Toes group. Shout out to Keller Williams. Shout out to all the realtors out here in the audience.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
started our day. We had the opportunity to get invited to the investors meeting. We talked. That was 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
I was tired. I still went. I was happy. I was happy to see all my friends. We basically got in a contract. Shout out to Johanna. We got in contract on Green yesterday, so we got to close a deal or get into a deal, get in the contract, get to go to a meeting. So we actually did deals, and you got a couple deals that you're ready to ink when you're ready to go back. What did we do at 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock was the best part of the day for me.
It was a
though.
beautiful part of the day. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You just became a mobile home park owner.
Yeah. Well,
with 23 units.
yeah. It's a nice piece of property.
Beautiful piece of property.
It's well kept.
Yeah.
The people were very nice. We're gonna do our due diligence. We're gonna close on it soon. We got in contract today. The owner's very happy to sell.
Right.
We're very happy to buy. Shout out to MCG Homestead for putting that together. Shout out to Lisa Marie. I need a property manager in Central Texas. MCG Homestead is where you're gonna want to go. Now, if you want, there's a special thing that we do. Everybody in here knows. Regis always says it. The whiteboard. We're bringing it back. It's new and improved. Season 2, it was a little board on a wall.
Okay.
We've upgraded. Can we go to do you want to kind of like run through a deal or see whatever it is?
Absolutely. I'll show you exactly what I would want to look at if I was doing the loan for that.
We're gonna pay some bills. We're gonna go.
The obvious of tax returns, bank statements, things like that. There's 3 equations that I would want to look at, so that way I can see it's a legit deal for me and for you as my client, right? So let's just say the property's for $1 million. Just use whole numbers, make it simple. and once again, we can't do our SBA 504 loan because you're not gonna be running your business through it, right? So we're just gonna do a regular. Let's just do a regular 12-month bridge. So put your 20% down. Interest only, 12 months. Yeah. So now I'm going to want to see your net operating income first. So your NOI.
We're bringing in $12K a month right now. We're going to be bringing in $23K, and that's lowball.
Right. But yeah, let's do whole numbers again. Yeah.
And then we're gonna run through the expenses, right?
Exactly.
So this is gross, net. We have property taxes.
Exactly.
We'll call it $3K a month for that. Just you want to make it for that?
Yeah. So do 3K.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't think of the outside things as well, right? So let's say you have a handyman, right?
Okay.
Do you want to be called if something's going bad? No. So you have 3K a month for a handyman. Let's just say you have trash, right? Let's do $500 for that a month. What happens if a tornado wipes out every single unit?
Insurance.
There you go.
Okay.
Insurance for something like this, I would say at least. I mean, I don't know how much insurance is in this county, but yeah, I'm gonna go off of you, 2K a month. All right, cool. Yeah, so that'll be good. Sometimes some clients of mine who have mobile home parks, they'll pay like a certain utility for their tenants or anything like that. But for you, it's going to be $8,500, right?
Okay, so this is
cool. That's your expenses.
$4K a month.
Yeah. The reason why you're not including your interest and principal, I know you have an interest-only loan, but usually a lot of people use their mortgage payments as their expense, but you don't do that. Okay, so you got $8,500, right, in your expenses, and then how much are you bringing in a month? 23K.
Want to go with the real number?
No, I want to go with your actual rent. Yeah. So you're making 14.5 a month. Yeah, that's what you want to do, right? 14.5 times 12. Someone could do that math for us. Okay, there you go. 180. That's annual. That's annual. That's your net operating income. Okay. Cool. Now, your next equation is going to be your cap rate. I know you guys, a lot of my real estate investors are already aware of that, but let's just see what a cap rate for something like this would look like, right? So your cap rate is your net operating income annually divided by the value of the property, not how much you bought it for. That's why you bought it for $1 million, but if you have a killer deal, that thing's worth 2.3 million.
Based on the income.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So your cap rate is going to be your net operating income divided by the value of the property. So 180K divided by 2.3 million. Whoever could do the math real quick for me. I don't got my phone on me, but
Well, 180, 1.8, 10, and then 2.4, that'd be like another half.
yeah, you're looking at like a 6.5%, I believe. Yeah. It's going to be 180,000 divided by 2.3 million. Yeah. Cancel out the zeros. 7.82. There you go. You got a 7.8% cap rate. That's a beautiful property to get a hold of, right? Because in big cities like the cities that I normally deal with, like LA, Miami, Seattle, it's damn near impossible to try to get a 7% cap rate on a property. So for us, if we're looking at those kind of cities, someone who's getting a cap rate of, let's say, 4%, they're doing something very, very well. So, but in cities like Killeen, Temple, starting to get the names.
It's a good deal.
Nolanville,
Right, yeah.
7.8%. You're doing something right.
Okay,
So that'll be
so
your cap rate, right?
Yep.
And then last but not least, your debt service coverage ratio. So that's to see if you can afford the debts that are coming to you from your mortgage payment. And that's going off of your net operating income again, right? So when you're telling me you're making 23K a month from your rent, but let's just say now this is where you get your interest only payments involved, because that is your actual debt to the bank. So on a $1 million loan, you know, it's a bridge loan. Let's say your rate is at even tier 1 credit, your rate is at like 10%. Let's just say your monthly payments are 10 grand. So what the bank likes to see now, because they're getting a little more conservative, during COVID, they were okay with a 1-to-1 ratio for a debt service coverage ratio. As long as you were making 10 grand a month in rent, for 10 grand a month mortgage, you would have been good. But now they want to be at like a 1.25, 1.25%, because they got to protect themselves too. Rates are higher. The economy is a little, you don't know what's going on with the economy. So as long as you're able to meet that. So let's say if you're bringing in 12,500, which will be at that 1.25, you'd be good with my bank. But if you're bringing in 23,000 compared to $10,000 a month mortgage, that's at like a 2.3% rate.
right.
2.3%.
So we're gonna take
not 2.3%, but 2.3.
we're gonna take this number and then we're gonna put it over 10, which equals 2.3.
Yeah.
We have to beat 1.25.
So you damn
So
near
I'm
doubled it.
basically, I know it's such a good deal.
It's
It's
such
even a good deal with this.
It's such a good deal.
Again, shout out to Lisa Marie. Shout out to MCG Homestead. I'm gonna tell you the story real quick as I get ready to go. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna sit back down. We're good at the board.
We're
Any
good.
questions about
Thank you
this?
for your writing.
Anybody has a question? You're more than welcome to go. I'm gonna have a seat. I'm gonna tell y'all about how this deal came about.
Oh, we have a question.
For Naveed, for me, Naveed.
Kind of both of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a lot of numbers and ratios for someone who may be new.
Yeah.
What are maybe a few things that you would suggest to a new business owner who's ready to jump into the commercial space?
Yeah. So you're trying to buy commercial property, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to know the stuff. That's the thing. I know it sounds hard, but if it's gonna save you thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years, it's worth knowing, right? But the main thing I would say is if you're getting like a multi-unit property, take a look at the rent roll. So like this plaza right here, right? So you have multiple units in this parking lot. So if you get the rent roll, what I would like to pay attention to when I see something like that is I want to see how long each tenant has been there. And if you see a unit that's constantly revolving in tenants, there's two things that come across my mind as the banker. I would say there may be a problem because there's a common denominator. There may be a problem with the unit. It could be a plumbing issue. It could be a roof issue that the landlord is just not fixing, or there's just something wrong. They're not telling you something, right? So pay attention to the rent roll so that way you can truly maximize on the money you're hoping to get from buying that commercial property.
There's a guy, he helps people like that who have
Uh,
questions about business and real estate and coaching.
I
AJ
believe I know him because he's my coach.
AJ Holmes, give us a call. We have Howard's Blend. We have Naveed.
Yeah.
All right.
The
Great
rent roll. I don't want.
You
I'm
wanna go
sorry.
through it?
No. I just wanted to let you know because it's based on the conversation. I don't want to go too deep into your personal conversation with the seller of the mobile home park. But the first thing he was saying is that he was planning on raising the rent after the year started. So when you're looking at a rent roll, you really got to pay attention to what those rents are compared to the marketplace, because you could have an owner of a previous property who's probably been the owner for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and they just have that emotional connection with their tenants, and they're not giving them the rents that you're supposed to be getting, right? So when you come in as a new owner, just make sure that, we're all human at the end of the day, but you still got to make money and still business. So don't have that emotional attachment to the tenants, because if they got to pay you more, they got to pay you more. That's just where the market's at. So don't be afraid of raising rents, especially if you see that the rents are really low on that property.
Yeah, I agree. And we had a conversation, and this gentleman owned this land for 38 years, and he lives there. The average tenant, he said, the average tenant has been there 10 years. 3 of the units are his family. He's way below market. As you can see, he's getting 12. I can get 23. He's almost 50% below. And everybody's month to month. I could easily go in, start pushing people out, start doing this, that, and the third. Honestly, the deal is already so good, and I'm buying it cash, that I would never pay the interest. I'm never going to finance this. I'm not. I'll give you the plan. It's fine. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to own it for 2 or 3 years. We're going to buy 2 or 3 bigger mobile homes, and I'm going to end up selling that to a client, and I'm going to move on. This is a stepping stone. This is something that we've done as a community. Lisa Marie and we already spoke. The only thing we're going to do is an incremental raise of $25 or so, $40 to keep pace with taxes. And as people leave, then we'll bring new people in as market rent. But I'm not going to force anybody out. The place is immaculate. Everybody already understands the rules and everything. So that's one of those things that we kind of talk about. And we talked about this in shop the other day. One of the Pat, right? Shout out to my man, Pat. Pat was like, money hungry capital. And they're coming in, they're buying land, and they push us out. And I'm like, people do that. And that's my right to do that. But it's not necessary. The money's not tight. I'm not hurting. Everything is okay. I'd rather keep people on pace, because what also happens, and we know about this, we talk about the hotel, where people, I want market. I want to raise it. I want to go higher. I want to go higher. And then what happens is people pay that rent, but they can't sustain the rent because the community, the market can't support it. So yeah, you get somebody in and they pay $1,800 a month because you said so, and they showed the 3 pay stubs and they borrowed money from their grandma and they did whatever. And then 3 months later, you have an eviction. So if we get the properties cheap enough, I'm okay with a certain ROI. We'll get into that later. That's a coaching call. And I'm happy with making that much money. And then, I burr it out and I pull my money. I make my money off the bank, not off the tenant. So any other questions or anything like that? Because if not, I got 1 or 2 more questions for you and we're going to wrap. I'm going to take a seat. You sure? Yeah, I want to ask the off question. I know some of y'all can ask me.
I can go over another deal too for whenever the time is right, in regards to a commercial deal we just closed in Miami a month or 2 ago.
You want me to go back to the board?
No, it doesn't. Nah, it's okay. You can sit down.
I just sat down. You want me to Here's the thing.
It's just breaking another myth, right? Like the whole myth about you have to own residential properties before you own commercial properties, right? Like I've heard it when I was in the residential game. That's why I thought it was true, but that's absolutely not true. You don't even have to be your own homeowner. So I work with a lot of doctors, especially in the Miami area. And I ran into this doctor who was referred to me by one of my my realtors. There you go. So this guy literally rents out the condo that he lives in. However, he started doing I wouldn't call it a plastic surgeon. He does more of like your Botox, lip injections. It's Miami, right? It's very popular. So he started in 2020, end of 2020. Business was steady. He had a little 800 square foot office. And long story short, he started doing podcasts. He started, putting his name out there. Then he ended up working with like Miss Colombia, Miss Universe, Miss Peru. He grew. So by the end of 2022, October time, when I first met him, he was bringing in at least 18 to 20 people in his office a day. And this guy's charging like $600 for a 5-minute Botox. So business was growing. He's making good money. He wanted to buy out his own facility. He found a facility, but he never pulled the trigger because he never owned his own home. Talked to me. We set it up to where as long as his financials were in place, balance sheets are in place, P&Ls are in place, and he has a trajectory. Remember that business plan that was in place. He owns his property now. He has an 1,800 square foot office. I set him up in a 504. We got him $80,000 of working capital towards machines because he has to buy these bigger machines now to operate his business. 10% down, $1.5 million property. He put down 150 plus some closing costs. And now, even though he doesn't own his house or wherever he lives, he rents. He's never owned a property before, but he can own his own medical facility, and his grand opening is going to be pretty amazing.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I have one more question for you, real estate based, and then you get your contact info, and then we'll wrap. I think this was a good one. No need to.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we're 2 for 2. I think it's the setup. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's the setup. All right. Is now a good time to buy commercial property?
1,000%.
Why do you say that?
1,000%. I know it's going to sound cliche because of the story I told you when we first met during the other conference, but there's two waves that are happening right now. So when COVID first hit, a lot of these hedge funds, a lot of these venture capitalist firms that I actually work with, they started selling off a lot of their commercial properties. Why? Because businesses were shutting down, working from home was becoming popular, and rates were low, so they were starting to get into the residential game. That's why half of these properties around you are owned by banks. However, what's not sexy anymore is the whole working from home space. I mean, talk to the lady who has 3 kids at home, who still has to work from 9 to 5, cook dinner, listen to the kids fight, and listen to her husband work from home in the other room as well. Also, ask the business owner who sent his employees home, started to see a decline in production, 10, 15, 20%. When you're doing $100 million in revenue and you see a decline in 5 to 10%, there's a major problem there. So now what's happening is a lot of these businesses are requiring, I'm not saying they're going to make you work from the office Monday through Friday, but they're mandating you to come back to the office at least. In California, it's very popular. At least 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Well, if you sold off those buildings and those other commercial properties, you're going to have to get back and buy more buildings and those offices so they can be somewhere when they're in the office. So now these venture capitalists, these VCs, these hedge funds, they're starting to buy commercial properties again because you're going to have to work somewhere again. So that's the trajectory that's happening. For them, they have deep pockets. They don't really care about the rates, but it's a supply and demand game. That's why you still see a lot of retail centers being built. That's why you still see the renovations happening in the buildings, because people need to make money. And right now, the game is not as saturated. It's saturated in the residential game. So even though the rates are high, get in the game so that way you can rent out your facility to this business that needs a property, because it'll happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I agree. And we're talking commercial. Who does commercial? Y'all all can do commercial? Show of hands. Right? Yeah. So at least in Centex, if you're looking for commercial deals, you got Barrientos Group, you got the Price Realty Group, you got the Baladadas Group. There's a lot of realtors and a lot of people in here that can help you out with that.
Yeah.
For me, and this is just me, I don't want to do commercial on a big scale. I don't think it's low enough yet. Right now, the trend is that the prices are dropping. Rates are still high. Like you said, I don't care about the rate. You can refi. There's things you could do about the rate, but it's the purchase price for me.
Right.
I think we still got another year or so to go. I may be right or wrong, but this is why I'm comfortable with saying that.
Mhm.
Let's say let's say commercials down 30% from the peak, right? The good days when we
Of
would sell
course.
houses every week and it was like you just giving them away with kidding.
Of course.
Let's say it's down 20 to 30%, give or take the city, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go 40, 45. And even if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
if it goes up 5%, then okay, we missed the wave now. It's time to start buying. I
Mhm.
think a year or so from now, as far as HA Homes and our clients, I think we're gonna move into commercial because a lot of initially the clients we had really just wanted to learn real estate.
Right.
And as I'm looking in the crowd, there are a lot of different types of businesses going on. So now our clients are owning real estate to house their own businesses. So that's what the coaching is leading to.
Mhm.
So I'm right there with you, man. I think we're gonna own a lot of commercial. I want to get a skyscraper, so I'm gonna throw that out there. There's got to be at least 20, because I mean, in like Killeen, a skyscraper is like 4 stories,
Yeah.
but it's got to be at least 20 stories. That's one of the things that's next on the checklist after the mobile home park.
Absolutely.
So with that being said,
Just pay attention. Sorry to cut you off, but if you're gonna get in the commercial game, especially buying retail centers, buildings, things like that, just pay attention to like what sectors of the economy are moving more than others, right? So anything after COVID, if you're in the healthcare industry, I mean, that is bound to just continue to grow. So if you have like medical facilities, those are so hot right now. You can rent them out to people. Think of like healthcare as just like hospitals, but you can have clinics. You can have, like I said, my client is considered a healthcare business because he does Botox and lip injections, you know? So there's so many different ways that you can create healthcare based facilities to where, and logistics facilities, for trucking, for just moving something from point A to point B, um, where your property, whatever that location is, it can actually help them for their business, and they'll be more than willing to pay you the rent that you're going to be asking for. So just pay attention to what sectors of the economy is moving more than the others, and then get a real commercial property for that type of business, so that way you can always have a tenant.
yeah, I'm with you. So thank you for flying. First off, thank you we had a lot of fun.
Thank
Not
you.
that much fun. It was adult fun. 30 fun. I did the 40 fun. We met in the middle. It was not that crazy. It was good, happy, wholesome fun.
Absolutely.
So how does everybody reach out to you? How do they find you?
Yeah, it's simple. Just reach out to me through Instagram. It's my name, Naveed, Naveedollogy. And then my company is One Click Commercial Funding. My email is my first name, Naveed, at oneclickcommercialfunding.com. And then we can go more towards getting my phone number and contacting me through the phone later on.
And I appreciate you. Y'all know how to get me. It's HA Homes US on TikTok, Instagram, website, everything that's out there. It's HA Homes US. I want to thank everybody who came out. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. Shout out to Howard's Blend. Shout out to Mary Kemp Foundation. Shout out to the Friendship Inn. And we are out of here. Peace.